Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Gambling Did You Know session. Today, we are going to be talking about the lottery and the odds of winning the lottery. This is a topic that I think is very important for just the general public to understand. There's a lot of misconceptions around the lottery, and it's a game that is, and different types of games that are so accessible to, again, the average person. So we see these at gas stations, we see them at grocery stores, all over the place. You can play the lotto. It is so accessible, and I think that is why so many people play it on an average day. So we are going to be talking about some of the actual odds, but starting off, just getting a little bit of background like usual. What is the lottery? What does that actually mean? We have two dictionary definitions up here on the screen. So we do have this first one, I think, is a little bit more specific to what we're talking about today. It is a means of raising money by selling numbered tickets and giving prizes to the holders of numbers drawn at random. We'll kind of come back to this definition a little bit later, but another more just general definition found in the dictionary is a process or thing whose success or outcome is governed by chance. Again, so that's very general. That can apply to, many other types of gambling, but the first definition here is definitely more specific to the lottery and what we're talking about. So, there are tickets, and those numbers are chosen at random. We'll come back to that once again. Like I said, I do want to just quickly explain a couple different types of lotteries. Starting with this big one, and we'll focus on these mostly today. Mega Millions, Powerball, these are really multi-state lotteries, basically across the whole United States. They're not necessarily found in every single state, or you can't necessarily play it in every state, but most states allow these, or people are able to play these games in those states. There are also just state-specific lotteries. So we do have a Michigan lottery that is different from Powerball and Mega Millions. But these are, where you'll see on the highway or something, a billboard for, what is the jackpot of the day. Then we have a different type of a lottery. Scratch-off tickets are technically under the category of lotteries. Basically, again, you have these tickets. It's pretty simple. You just scratch them off and reveal what prize or a chance at a prize. So sometimes you'll see these huge numbers. You could win $5,000 on this. On this one, you could win up to $10,000. There's even some, I think, that say you could win, a couple $1,000s a week for life. So, there's a big draw to these games. Again, you'll see there's a lot of bright colors. It looks fun. These are oftentimes given to people as gifts. Same with some lottery tickets, other types of lottery tickets as well. But these, again, don't involve any kind of skill. It's just chance. You just scratch off, revealing that number. And then if you happen to win something, you would actually get that money. Otherwise, and usually, you don't win much with these. And then we have bingo. This is actually another type of lottery as well. I would guess that most of us have played bingo, not necessarily for money, but this is something that, many people play throughout their lives. Basically, there's different rules depending on how you're playing it, but you usually want to get, 5 across or 5 up and down, something like that. So, they would read out the number. It would come out of a thing like this. It would say like I-18, and then you would match in the I column, and you would find your 18 there, something like that. So this is how bingo works. Again, people can actually do this, wagering money or putting money in to play this, and then you potentially win a pot of money if you, get that 5 across, or in this case, a diagonal there. So this is another type of lottery, how that is played. But again, we're going to focus on some of those big multi-state lotteries today. So this is the reason for today's session, in that lotteries are the most popular form of gambling in the United States and Canada. So this is why we're talking about this. It can start a person on a path towards gambling problems, or just be one other aspect of gambling problems. A person doesn't have to start with lotteries, but it's, again, so accessible. It's easy for a person to get into. You don't have to go to a casino or something specific like that. You can, again, access this while you're getting groceries or anything like that. So, why are lotteries so popular? I think the first thing is that people don't realize how long the odds are, or how poor your odds actually are of winning these. Again, especially these multi-state huge lotteries. The chances are very, very small. Again, we all probably have heard or seen in the news, these people win the lottery, and that does happen, obviously, but the odds of that are just so low for, any given person or any given ticket. Another reason why these are so, accessible and so big is that lotteries don't require any real thought or strategizing. All you're doing is picking numbers, and then, these are randomly selected, right? So you don't have to have a game plan going in. You don't have to have a strategy. So that just makes it easier for any given person to play. But at the same time, again, we tend to gain a false sense of control by choosing those numbers. So, that's why people tend to think that the easy pick option, is worse in some way than picking your own numbers, or, they're not going to let you win with an easy pick. That's just not the truth. This is a randomized game, so the results are random. So an easy pick has the same amount of chance as winning as, picking your own numbers. And if you don't know, easy pick is basically just that, where you would go in, you would buy a lottery ticket and just say, I want easy pick, and then your numbers are randomly generated. It's not something that you would even be picking at all. So that is what an easy pick is. You can do that with a lot of these different lotteries. So I want to stress, again, with this last point here, a couple other additional points to it. So again, first off, your lucky numbers, or having, some strand of numbers, that's not going to, again, improve your chance of winning. Once again, because the ball is just equally selected, there's an equal chance of any ball being selected. It's completely randomized here. And this going one step further, if we're talking about a 6-number string, or a 6-number 6-ball lottery like these are that we're talking about, having the odds of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coming up as the winning numbers is actually the same as the odds of any other single combination of numbers. So this is hard for a lot of people to wrap their heads around, in that it just seems like, I would never choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because it seems so outlandish that that would come up as the winning numbers, but that actually has the same exact chance as any other single strand of numbers chosen. So if you can understand this, I think that's on the way to understanding just how low your odds of winning this lottery are. And we're going to be talking about that in just a second. Before we get to that, I just do want to explain a little bit more about Mega Millions and Powerball, some of their payouts and things like that too. So these are very similar games, but you'll notice that the odds of winning these games is a little bit different. So in Mega Millions, basically you're choosing 5 different numbers between 1 and 70. These are like the white balls. And then you're choosing one number between 1 and 25. This is the gold mega ball. In Powerball, it's very similar again, but a little bit different. So you're choosing, again, 5 numbers, but it's between 1 and 69. And then you're choosing the Powerball, which is red, and it's one number between 1 and 26. So again, there's just a very slight difference there. But if we look at the odds of actually winning these, it's still very small, your odds of winning the jackpot, but there is a somewhat significant difference. So if we're looking at, just this odds of winning the actual jackpot for Powerball, we're talking about 1 in 292 million. And then for Mega Millions, we're talking about 1 in 302 million. So again, there is a difference in those odds there, but I just did want to point out a little bit for the rest of these odds too, and some of these payouts. So, you are paying $2 in order to play either of these games at this point. That has changed in somewhat recent years. It used to be $1 for some of them, but now it's $2 for each. So for Mega Millions, the lowest you can win is $2, which if you're just paying one ticket to do that, you would be breaking even at that point. With Powerball, the lowest you can win is $4 if you're actually winning. So theoretically, if you're just buying one ticket and winning anything there, you would be actually getting a little bit of money back. One more thing on this is the odds of winning anything. So the smallest one for Mega Millions is the Mega Ball. If you just get the Mega Ball, that gold number, you're going to get those $2. But the odds of that is 1 in 37, and the odds of winning anything on Powerball is similar, again, 1 in 38.32. So I wanted to just mention that going into this slide here, because this is actually from the Powerball website. They say that your odds of winning in general is 1 in 24.9. And I'm not saying that they're lying here, but I think this is a misleading thing, or it's easy to, for a general person to think that this gives you actually better chances than you do have. So, what they're stressing here, I'm not going to read this, is basically your odds of winning anything across the board is 1 in 24.9. It doesn't matter if, the jackpot is $1 million. It doesn't matter if the jackpot is $1 billion. Your odds are staying the same there. And I think it's good that they're mentioning this, but again, just having that 1 in 24.9, I think that suggests that it's more easy to win than it actually is. So again, your odds are remaining the same here. It's not changing, but the odds of winning a prize is not the same as the odds of winning a jackpot. So that's, I think, what people have to remember is winning a prize could be that $2 or that $4. It's very unlikely still for you to be winning that jackpot or, that $1 million or anything like that. So that's what I wanted to stress with this point here. It's a little bit misleading. So again, for Powerball, your odds of winning are 1 in 292 million, 201,338. And I'll tell you how we actually got to that number. And that is something that they do have on their website. So if you do want to find out this information, you do have access to that. But I wanted to pose this question here. So this is definitely, I'll say, simplifying a little bit, but this is sort of what you're doing here when you're playing the Powerball, because most of us probably are just aiming for that jackpot. Any amount of money winning in this lottery would be, beneficial to us, probably, we would say, but we're really hoping for that jackpot. So when you're just focused on that jackpot here, again, ignoring those other potential wins that you could get, this is what you're doing. You're actually paying money to guess one single number between 1 and 292,201,338. So again, that is basically what you're doing if you're just focusing on winning the lottery or winning the actual jackpot of that lottery. You're really focused on that. If I were to pose that to you and say, if you pay me $2, you can have one guess for that number, most of us would probably say no, right? We would probably say it could be, very, very difficult. There's no chance of me winning that, or almost no chance of me winning that. And you would be right. That is actually what we're doing when we are buying a lottery ticket. So again, how are these odds calculated? Basically, there are a little over 11 million ways to draw those first 5 balls from, a drum of 69 balls. When you multiply that by the 26 red balls or the Powerball, that is where you get that 292 million number. So if you were to think to yourself, what if I buy every single ticket? I'm guaranteed to win, right? If you're actually trying to do this, which most of us, the vast majority of us don't have this money, you would be spending, because it's $2 a ticket, you would basically be spending $584 million to buy every single ticket there. So if we just look at today's current jackpot, it's estimated to be $134 million. Again, a very sizable amount of money. Most of us would be very, very happy to win this. But if we were to buy every single ticket here, you'll notice that you're very much not doing well. So you would have to spend that $584 million to get that $134 million in your win. Thus, you would be losing $450 million. So obviously, this is not a good option for basically anybody. It doesn't really make sense to do that. And you do have to take into account, even if the jackpot was over that $584 million, there is still a chance that someone else could win the lottery at the same time as you, and you would have to be splitting it. So again, it's not really possible for a person to do this, but it's also not a good idea, even if it was possible for them. So going back to odds in general, I'm going to show you a little bit of how low your odds are and what these odds are kind of related to. So this is a little bit different from what we've talked about so far, but the odds of being killed in a car crash this year are about 1 in 8,000. Odds of dying by murder, unfortunately, 1 in 18,000. Still, these are very low odds. I don't want to worry anybody here, but we'll again get back to our odds of the Powerball. I'm not going to read all of these, but the odds of being hit by lightning this year are 1 in 400,000. We have about a 1 in 10 million chance of being struck actually by falling airplane parts, which is something that I had never considered. But if we go back to the odds of winning the Powerball and the odds of winning the Mega Millions lottery, you can see that these odds are much, much, much lower than some of these other odds that I've just shown. So what this means is, unfortunately, you're hundreds of times more likely to be killed on your way to buy a lottery ticket than you are to ever win the lottery. And this is not to, again, worry anybody. This is not to say don't leave your house. This is just to show you how low your chances are of winning these lotteries, because these are really things that we don't really think about, right? We're not, worried usually about getting struck by lightning or hit by falling airplane parts. But, we also think that somehow we can win that lottery, right? So this is something to think about if you do still believe that you have a good chance of winning the lottery. Unfortunately, you do not. So let's just say, for example, again, that you found a way and you actually did win the lottery. I would pose this question: did you actually win, or is this going to be a positive thing for you? So these are some things, unfortunately, that can come along with winning the lottery, just based off the number of people who have won, kind of following them over time. We do see people are more likely to have anxiety and depression. This is not to say that necessarily winning the lottery caused that, but it could be related to it, right? So it could be that they already had anxiety and depression, but it was just amplified just due to the stress of winning the lottery. And you might say that there's not really stress there, but some of these other things may point to that as well. So unfortunately, you are more likely to be targeted, for burglary or murder or something like that. That is unfortunately a reality. So it can be easy for a person to lack trust, right? So if you win the lottery, you can be always thinking about people's maybe other motives or why they're talking to you or interested in you or something like that. There's also a thing called sudden wealth syndrome. So this is kind of like an identity crisis that some winners have. They can feel actually kind of guilty for winning. They can feel like they don't deserve it, but at the same time, they can also feel very, uh, worried or a lot of fear of actually having that money taken away from them or, losing that money. So that's something that is a reality for many people who win the lottery. And just having that amount of money oftentimes leads to engaging in risky behaviors that can be dangerous or harmful to us as well. So I just want to share, I just wanted to, focus on the odds of winning the lottery, what that actually means, what that entails. And I do have some resources as usual today. So if you are interested in finding out more information or you or someone you know maybe is struggling with your gambling, you want to get some help, there are definitely people out there who can help. You can reach out to any of these numbers or websites on the screen, and they would be more than happy to assist you with that. So thank you everybody for tuning in today, and we will see you next time with another Gambling Did You Know session.